we've got here, we're going to redo these rails. We've got a staple puller. This is a really good puller. Makes it easy to do. What you want to do is very carefully stick that end underneath there, pull it loose. Just put one end and twist, okay? Goes pretty quick and easy. Then you can grab your Leatherman here and pull your staples. Now this wood's quite a bit softer than a lot of stuff you guys are going to be playing with, so these are coming out a little easier. Okay, so we've got the rail, we flipped it over here. Then you just want to pull this out. When you're pulling this, sometimes it's really tight. The best thing to do is to just lift very slightly on the feather strip. You're going to be very careful you don't break this in half. But you can lift on this and pull your felt out. Again, this is really thin felt, so it's coming out really easy. But sometimes you'll lift on the feather strip and pull that out, and voila, away you go. On to the next step. Okay guys, we're going to felt this rail. We've got some tan felt here. What I'm checking right now is I'm just putting the feather strip in the rail, and we're checking the gap to see how tight this is. 99% of the time the feather strips are cut correctly, the rail's channel is correct, and we're not going to have any problems with the felt going in here and coming out, so, or coming loose. And this one looks good. I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but all of the line is in there. That's about as much slop as you want to be able to have. Okay, so what we're going to do, grab my blade here, pick that out of there. Actually got a real blade here, we'll use that in a minute. So let's grab our cloth here. This one does have a sticker on it that marks it to the top, so we'll put that face down. So what we're going to do, grab my blade here, pick that out of there. Actually got a real blade here, we'll use that in a minute. So let's grab our cloth here. This one does have a sticker on it that marks it to the top, so we'll put that face down. What I like to do is line this up on here like this. Grab my feather strip. Some guys will make a little mark on here to line up center. That's quick. It just takes extra time, and I think it's just as easy to place this on here. I'll pinch the fabric up and pinch the fabric and the feather strip at the same time. I'll find the channel where it needs to go, and then I'll look down here on this end, and I will make sure that that feather strip is right on the end. And with that right there, I can leave that like that, and then it's just one quick little, just a light little tap. If you hit it real hard, you'll crack it, so you want to be careful not to crack it. And now we're just going to pound this in. The idea is we want to have, just an 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch, something like that. With that coming out, we'll pound it back the other way. You'll notice how I'm moving my thumb this way to steer this cloth in and out where I want it. Try not to hit your thumb, it kind of hurts. One of the things you want to be paying attention to if you've got these rails on here as well, guys, is that you don't drop it onto the floor. Always make sure you either got a hand on it or stand next to it. Yeah. Or something. What I do want to check is I want to just give this a tug, guys. Just pull on this and give it a good tug. If that comes loose, then we've got to take measurements, and we'll show you here in just a minute what we'll do to fix those if that starts coming loose. Okay, so we've marked this area here on the end because we can tug really hard on the felt, and you'll have to trust me on this one. If I tug hard on this, I will pull it right out. It fits tight everywhere else. Right here on this head that we've kind of marked. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take our little staple gun here, and not going to go too close to the edge because we don't want to split the wood. We also want to make very careful that we put that staple right in the middle of the feather strip. That, now we can give that a good tug, and that isn't coming out. You can see I actually started pulling a feather strip out, but the felt didn't slip. So if I hold the feather strip down and tug good, it ain't coming out. Don't pound it in real hard. Now, this is a really good trick. What you want to do is when you start to trim this back, you want to make very sure that as you're pushing, you push down more so than towards you. A couple reasons. One, you don't want to cut yourself. But more importantly, if you slip and come across, you're going to cut the felt and damage the rail. So we want to make sure, and sometimes if you're not good at it, go slow. But I'm pushing down more than towards me. And then I like to pull it up as I go. It just makes it a lot easier if you'll lift at that and you can see that you've cut it loose. When you get to the corner, you want to take and trim this back. Let's have the camera get in here a little closer. And what we want to do is I'm going to make a little trim right here. This little cut like this makes it easier to tuck that behind the end strap or the end piece that's on here. And then same thing, we're going to do the same thing on this end. These are both corner pockets, so these get trimmed the same way. I'm going to trim that back. Another thing you can do is just scissor it real close, and once you cut it back a little bit, go ahead and cut it out. That will sit back behind. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pick it up, let's fold it over, make sure we don't have any damage on there. One of the neat things to check is make sure that your surface doesn't have any staples or something, because we don't want to scratch the top of the rail either. So now we're going to staple the bottom side of this. For whatever dumb reason, I like to put one in the middle. Just pull it tight. With this kind of billiard cloth, you can do these tight. There's many different techniques you can use. The one that I like to do is I'll pull this up right here. I'm going to pull it straight up. Some guys, if you pull it back too far like this and put a staple here, you're going to have a soft spot up here on top of it. You can kind of see a little wrinkle there. If I pull it too fat this way, you'll see a wrinkle like this. So I want to make sure that this gets pulled straight up like that. And to make it easier, the angle that we lift as we pull this up, we kind of want to, I kind of want to sneak it back just a little bit. And the concept here is we're going to put our first staple right there, right off the edge. So you can see where that staple is in relation to the corner of the staple, of the rail rather. Now what we want to do is keep these staples, we're going to stagger these down, and we want to keep them closer to the edge. What I'll do is I'm just biting off a little bit of a wrinkle here on the edge. I'll just continue to bite this off as it goes down, and you want to place those, you know, if you can place them symmetrically. We want to make sure we're not having any wrinkles. We're almost there. We only have that much to make up. And of course, load your staple gun before you get started. That's always a good idea. Outtakes, we call these. So you got your staples handy. Let's put another one there. I'm still working it. You can see I've still bit a little. And I also notice there's no wrinkles in the front of my staples. All the wrinkles behind, and everything looks good there. Now with these, I'm pulling moderately, not super hard, but not loose. And then what you want to do is just staple these down about a little more than a staple width apart. Some guys do it more, some guys do it less. This is definitely adequate. We're going to bring this down, and I'm going to stop about right there and sneak to the corner. Again, this is an end rail. That little sticker identifies that that's supposed to be the top of the cloth. I'm going to pull that back. Same thing on this side. Staple here in the corner. Now we're going to work it back, and this time, you know, you can pull it tight and just keep biting that off so those are behind. If you'll stagger those down, leave them parallel, don't shoot them this way, leave your gun straight, because you can line up a lot more staples and get a lot quicker to make up that corner. You'll notice I'm still making up a little. That's why I stopped back here, because I still potentially have a wrinkle there. But we're going to fix that right there. So we're done stapling this. Now what I'm going to do is, what I like to do with my staple gun, just for sake of sheer time, is I'll turn it around backwards and I'll hold it between my legs. I'll put the rail on my foot. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take and staple the end of this. So since we cut that correctly back here, this makes a nice clean, fold that edge over, pull it back, and we're going to put two staples here in the end. Where you want these, you want them close to the hole here. We don't want to block the hole, but we want them close so we can get to it. And careful not to ever put a staple too far out here, because if you shoot it, it's going to shoot out the top of the rail. That can be bad as well. So let's hit that side. We'll flip this over. Again, I like to set that on my foot. This time we're going to roll it this way and shoot it left-handed, which I'm not as good at, but it works fine. So put two staples in the end. Okay, so we've got our center pocket here. This is the center pocket, so you don't have to stop back. You just want to staple this one right out to the edge. Pull in, pull it tight. Put one right out there on the edge. Go ahead, work yourself back down here. One of the tricks that I do when I use this too is I use my thumb as a stop, so I know where my staples are at. But if you use your thumb, let's stop there. Notice I'll put that staple gun between my legs to hold it rather than set it down, and I have both hands free up here to do what I need to do. That's a really good technique to do this faster. So I got both hands. Now that I've got that where I want it, I can grab my staple gun, drop my first staple, and then I can just do it with one hand. Again, guys, we're just stepping it down, one step at a time. You'll notice I'm kind of pulling this way as I work the last little pieces out of there. If there was a hint of a wrinkle or something like that, let's say, I probably should have made one, but let's say there was a little wrinkle right here, you can always just pull it up in here, put a staple, put an extra staple in there, and away you go. Now to finish the end on a center pocket piece, what you're going to do is, I trimmed this back just like we did on the other one. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and fold this, and one of the nice things that we like to do is fold this back, we're going to fold this over, and we're going to make this nice and tight right down the line right there. I'm going to pinch it. We're going to put 2 staples in the bottom. Now we're going to pull this back. We're going to put a staple here. We're going to put a staple there. Okay, something we can point out here is this actually does have a notch that's in the rail that's designed to put the staples in. So when you put your staples in this, pull this up tight. You want to put them about in the middle, between there and the end. You don't want to put them up here on clear back here on this level. In fact, you can kind of feel it with your staple gun. You want to put them clear back here, and you don't want to put them clear out here on the edge either. Put them right in the middle. You know, 1/4 inch back is perfect. And then one of the things you'll notice with this style of cloth, this is a championship cloth or premier cloth, leisure, it all pretty much installs the same way. If you're doing Simonis or a speed cloth, if you do the same technique I'm doing right here and you staple this far apart and you pull as hard as I am and put it right next to your thumb, you're going to have ripples and wrinkles all over this thing. It's going to look horrible. Just for trying to help you a little bit out, if you're going to ever do Simonis cloth or speed cloth, the technique is different. I'm going to put my staple here, but I'm going to pull over here, and I'm going to pull pretty hard, but I'm going to staple a couple inches away from my thumb. It's not as tight, and that will prevent you. So if you were to hit that and staple, 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 you wouldn't see a ripple. We'll have to show that on another video at some point with actual Simonis cloth, where we can ripple it like crazy and then make it look nice and smooth too. But for this stuff, let's go ahead and pull. It's a tighter pull, a harder pull, and looks great. Really easy to install. Doesn't have a lot of by the way, there's a little window on the staple gun here. If your installer wants to check that, you can see that it's empty, so you don't run out of staples when you really need one. You can see your staples there. So just another little trick. And trim this. And all you want to do is get a good blade. All you want to do is trim this here, and the notch of the blade right here, just so you can see how fast I can do that, I've just used that as a guide that makes it really easy to just trim that down super fast. You don't have to be careful. Trim that back. Now what we're going to do is we're going to flip this over, and there's usually a little lip on here. Just got a lip on here. Now we're going to take our rubber mallet and finish pounding the strip in. Some guys like to put cloth down and pound on it. I've seen that. I can tell you, in my 20 years of doing this, I've never damaged the top rail by using a good rubber mallet.